the sun is just starting to climb up over the treetops. And it's gonna be a beautiful day, that's plain to see.
Welcome to Bill Dance Outdoors, America's most popular and longest running TV fishing show.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
Okay, boy, oh boy, what a different perspective makes. You know, when I fish lakes around my home in West Tennessee, and I can see a fishing lure, let's say in 3 feet of water, I feel like I'm fishing ultra clear water. But many of my angling buddies up north, like Al Linder, they think they're fishing in a hog hole, just a muddy water. To them, anything less than, let's say, 8 to 18 feet, that visibility is heavily colored. Where I come from, when visibility runs less than, say, 3 to 4 inches, you have very off-colored water, just about like what we're going to be fishing in today. Fishing off-colored water like we have in the Mississippi River drainage system isn't unusual for me. I grew up fishing. I don't just tolerate muddy water, I prefer it sometimes, and let me tell you why. We mistakenly picture bass as creatures at the mercy of their environment. Being a highly successful predator, the bass has got to learn to adapt and survive in a variety of conditions, including heavily stained water. When they're in this type environment, that's all they've got. They've got to live with it and adapt to it. Well, we're out here and we're going to be fishing cover. That's what the fish relate to. Bass are tickmotactic, as biologists say, and what that means, they're touch sensitive. I had a big tank one time and I put a bass in it, and the bass just swam around. And then I put a brick in it, and the first thing the bass did, he swam to the brick. And then I took the brick out and I put another bass in that tank. It was 900 gallons. And both bass swam together, meaning they're touch sensitive. They like to get next to something. And especially when you get an off-colored environment like we have today, fish like to move in shallow and they like to get next to something. They're object oriented. And you know, there's many myths concerning bass behavior in this yucky type water. And one I hear most often is that when the water clarity darkens, bass cut a trail in search of clear water. Now this implies a mass migration to the lower section of the lake or to a clear running creek somewhere on the lake. Bass, as a general rule, well, don't move a great distance in clear water. And when visibility is limited, they move even less. How would a bass in stained water in the upper reaches of the lake know the water is clear 10 miles away down the lake? The water turns yucky, they move shallow, and they become object oriented. That one? Yeah. Now there. You got all wrapped up, didn't you? How am I gonna get you undone? Come on, wrap up over that. Boy, he was up in that stuff. Got it. Look how fat that one is. He hadn't missed many meals. Hadn't missed meals at all. Okay, toodaloo.
Bill Dance Outdoors. Sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Rebel, catch fish anywhere. And by Mercury Marine, go boldly. Today's Conditions Log is brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development. Come experience the kind of beauty that can only be made in Tennessee. Go online today for your free Tennessee vacation guide.
Where are you going? Get out of that bush. Pretty fish right there. He easy does it. I almost got the hook out. There we go. There's a pretty one. That's a sign of a healthy fish right there. Been in that off-colored water is why he's light. We'll talk about that in a little bit, why fish are light-colored in off-colored water. But anyway, we'll put you back, buddy. Thank you. Good fight on him. See ya. When the water turns the color of a chocolate milkshake or split pea soup, bass have options. They move shallow, making them much easier to catch. 1 to 2 feet isn't too shallow in low light water. Another thing they do is become object oriented, meaning they move in very close to objects. Another thing they do is they use all their senses. A bass has to see a lure before striking it. Vision is their primary sense, even in muddy water. But the lateral line, which can detect vibrations over 10 feet away, becomes more important as visual range is reduced. Bass also use their inner ear to sense sound produced even further away. And I think smell is extremely important in murky water. So it might be wise to use a fish attractant sense. Whoa. Woo, fight, Buster. You know, something I've found out over the years is that bass that live in clear water are usually harder to catch when their habitat turns off-colored than bass from typically stained or murky water. Bass that are accustomed to clear water feed almost entirely by sight, but bass accustomed to, say, a murky environment seem to rely more on their other senses to cope with reduced visibility. Normally the best time to fish an off-colored water lake, it's usually clear, is after conditions have stabilized 3 to 4 days. By then, the bass have adapted to reduced visibility and establish predictable patterns. There's a hit, boy, he knocked the fire out of it. You through? Oh, aren't you pretty? There's a little fat one. A little chunky monkey. Ready to go back? Okay, here we go.
Today's show is brought to you by Zebco, teaching America to fish since 1949. Pure Marine Odor Eliminator eliminates foul fish odors from gear, compartments, and empty live wells. And Tracker Boats, fish the finest.
Today's equipment log is brought to you by Ego Fishing and their all-new S2 slider landing nets with the most advanced handle extension technology. Take the battle to the water with Ego. Today's show is sponsored by Monster Marine Lithium. Lighter, stronger, longer. Bill Dance exclusive rods by Quantum. We have an action for you. And by Garmin. Fight your fish, not your fish finder.
Look at that. Under the boat, around the boat. Strong fish right there. Pretty one too. How fat that fish is. Turn around. There we go. Woo. That's a pretty one. Isn't that nice? Woo. That fish wasn't any depth of water. Okay. See ya. Bye-bye. I cannot begin to tell you how light these strikes are. I mean, sometimes I don't even feel them. They hit it and they're coming out with it. I'm using everything that I can to create the best feel possible. First of all, I'm using an extremely sensitive rod. It's lightweight, it's graphite, it's got an extremely sensitive tip. I'm using braid, which has tremendous sensitivity. I'm using a tungsten jig, which tungsten has so much better feel than lead. And even with all that, with all the sensitivity that I have, the bites are so light, some of them. If I was using fiberglass with mono and lead, I'd miss a lot of those light strikes. There's no question I would. Whoa, baby Nelly. He just won't come back. Come on back, you whore. All right, slide up here to me. Come on. Don't try it. Let me just touch you. I'm gonna let you go. I just want to just touch you. Oh, there it is. You bit one of my legs off, but that's okay. Pretty one, isn't it? Big fat fish, look there. Okay, Bubby, see ya.
The Bill Dance Question and Answer of the Week, brought to you by Bill Dance Exclusive Rods by Quantum. Whether you're fishing for panfish, bass, catfish, or light saltwater, we have the action for you. Available at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
Bill, how much time do you spend on buying a new lure? Well, I really think a lot of expensive baits are overrated. A bass strikes whatever's available that appears to them to be forage, whether it costs $4 or $18. Like I've said before, we spend way too much time thinking about buying baits than bass do worrying about striking them. Bass are predators, not bankers. They'll never be concerned with the cost of a lure.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Cast King Tri-Polymer and Hammer Braid Fishing Lines, and by Garmin Force Trolling Motors. Fish with force. Closed captioning provided by PowerPole.
The original shallow water anchor. Today's product tip is brought to you by Garmin and their GPS map series, Shark Plotter Sonar Combos, with their advanced sonar technology, like Panoptic's Live Scope all-seeing sonar. You'll spend less time finding your fish.
Millennium Shade Tree Umbrella Holder will hold your shade tree umbrella shaft precisely where you need it, whether you're fishing from your own pedestal seat or Millennium's double seat sidekick. Constructed of heavy-duty anodized aluminum, swivels 360 degrees for maximum protection and locks into place for quick telescopic adjustments. This device will hold the umbrella perfectly while you hold the fish, of course. Millennium Shade Tree Umbrella Holder. You're gonna love it.
Come be part of Bill Dance Digital. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. Follow us.
Let me tell you something else I think is important. When visibility is greatly reduced, I prefer to use big lures simply because bass can see and catch them much easier. There are several excellent ones for this type of conditions. A single-bladed spinnerbait can be a good choice, only if the bass are in a semi-active mood. A large spinnerbait is not only highly visible, but it produces more vibration, and its flash penetrates even in off-colored water, especially in shallow water. It's also best to use a number 5 Colorado throbbing blade because it alerts the bass through its lateral line. When using this type of lure, it's smart to create a path. Don't just make one cast at your target and move on. Make several, but each time bring your lure at the same slow speed and the same direction each time you cast. A bass must first detect the sound of your bait and at which direction it's going, and then move in that direction in order to see it. If it's fished too fast, it's going out of its range of vision before it can locate it. And if you make only one cast here and another one 6 feet away, all you're doing is confusing the fish, making him wonder what it is, where it is, and not catching him. Another good lure to use when bass are active would be a large, shallow running crankbait. Short lip version can be mighty deadly in dark water. When fishing one, use one that has a rattler built in for additional sound. The crankbait, like the spinnerbait, must be fished slow, and by making several casts to the same spot is paramount. Another advantage to using these two lures is the vast amount of water you can cover with them quickly. If you're still into catching fish, it might be smart to change lure styles or sizes. Even lures of the same kind often produce different vibrations. However, if the fish are inactive, a bait like we're using today is an ideal choice. Come out of there. Where are you, buddy? You're all wrapped up in that stuff. see you. If I can get to you. Don't go back down. There you go. I'm coming for you. Coming for you. Good one, too. Easy does it. He gets you. Oh, you got wrapped up in it, didn't you? I'll catch that one in. See you, buddy. There's no doubt about it, in the eyes and the minds of many anglers, off-colored conditions create a major negative. You don't want that to happen. A better approach would be to turn the negative into a positive. Spring clear water, well, it's mighty beautiful, but stained water bass are far more predictable, especially to this old Tennessee boy like me, that makes yucky looking water mighty beautiful. So the next time you pull up to the water's edge and see the lake brown as chocolate milk or green as Campbell's split pea soup, remember some of the things we've discussed today and give it a shot. You might just be pleasantly surprised. So until next time, you catch one from me. We'll see you.
Thanks for watching Bill Dance Outdoors. Join us here again next week.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.